Our next speaker for today has traveled a long distance to join us. He is with the Alibaba Group and has been making waves across the world. At TiECON Chennai 2016, he's going to speak to us on the subject, Unlocking Insights from Customer Data. Learn from this real-world Alibaba on unlocking insights from mountains of customer data and get to your pot of gold. Please welcome Mr. Danfeng Li.
Good afternoon. That's a very long introduction music. So, good afternoon. I'm Danfeng Li from Alibaba Group. First, I want to thanks Tai for inviting me here. I'm not sure I'm the first speaker from a Chinese company for this kind of conference. And believe me, and I like to be the first one. Okay, so before I start my session, my host actually told me it's better I give a little bit background about myself. I joined Alibaba 2 years ago, and coming back, after 18 years spent my career in the United States, I come back to China, joined the Alibaba way. So in United States, I work for a variety of companies. My last one is Microsoft. If anyone has an Xbox One at home, the search engine on the Xbox, that's my team built that. So I have like a special, thank you. I have a very special Xbox which is all in white. That's only probably hundreds of them available around the world. So that's my reward for doing the work there. Before Microsoft, I worked for like Yahoo and also a company named FICO, which creates a credit score for the consumers in the United States. And also I work for like small consulting firm. I graduated from University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, got my PhD there. So other than that, I think that's probably enough of me. So today my title actually is pretty long, but it's all about like how we're going to leverage the data we have. Before I start talk, I'm going to do a little bit survey. So how many of you think you know good about big data? Okay, and how many of you think yourself like I'm a data scientist in training? Okay, okay, I got the idea. So today I'm not actually going to talk about a lot of concept around big data, because I don't know if you've been to those kind of big data conference. People always start with their slides with the big, like full V, volume, velocity, whatever, I don't even remember. But I'm a data scientist. I want to do the real work, and I want to show you the real result. So not too much concept today, and just some planned result from the data process. And I'm not even going to talk about the big data just like a teenager sex, joke. So I'm going to skip all of that. So let me start. The first question probably you will notice why there's like no Alibaba logo on my slides. So actually the company I'm working for is called Yongmeng in Chinese. You can see the name here. Oops. Sorry. You can see the name here. I'm not sure this is going to work. Okay, so the first question is who is the Yongmeng Plus and what kind of data we have? Okay. So give you the answer. Yumeng Plus is actually a Alibaba company. It's fully owned by Alibaba. The reason we keep this brand, because this is a very, very popular brand among Chinese developers, web developers and app developers. So we want to keep it going. So that's why we keep this brand. And this company actually is formed by 3 companies at the beginning of this year. There's one company called CNZZ, another is Yumeng, another is D-Ratio. When I joined Alibaba, actually, I'm the CEO of the first company, CNZZ. So the 3 companies together, we are the largest web and mobile analytics tool provider in Chinese market. So the reason Alibaba actually bought those 3 companies is because Alibaba really think data is very important. Because Alibaba probably is the biggest data holder in terms of e-commerce, because we have a 10 million merchandise on our platform. And we also have another platform right now. Almost all big brands is on that platform also. So in terms of e-commerce data, we do have a lot. But that is not enough. So we want to know what people doing outside the e-commerce work. You know, what kind of news they're reading, what kind of app they're using, you know, how long they use it, you know, what they're used for, those kind of information. All those 3 companies, they've been doing this kind of thing in Chinese market for a very, very long time. So all 3 together, we are actually the largest third-party data in China. Probably also the largest third-party data around the world. So I'll give you some sense of what data we have. First, we serve almost 1 million apps around the globe, but majority of them are actually Chinese apps. So by doing that, we can actually reach 1.3 billion active devices on daily basis. This is the billion and on daily basis. So you should get an idea, you know, how large the data we have. And also we serve more than 5 million. This 5 million is the official number right now we released, but we have a much more higher number of websites we're serving right now. And we reach, you know, billions of cookies every day. Also, we enter a new area, which we try to collect data in the offline environment. So I'm going to actually talk about this in the last part of my presentation. So right now, we have a device in about 1,500 stores, and we collect about millions of devices daily, you know, through that devices. And in terms of every day, we process 24 billion events. That includes online, offline, on PC, on mobile. This is all about user behavior. And also, we can actually reach, in terms of user, this is 1 billion user. The first number, I said that 1.3 billion, that is an active device, because each person can have multiple devices. This is very true in China. I think probably 20 to 30% of Chinese people, they have at least 2 cell phones. That's not counting about, you know, all the iPad, you know, tablet, those kind of things. We do have a lot of active devices. So what I'm showing here, so basically, if you are an active user, internet or mobile user in China, there's a 99.5% chance we're going to have some data about you. That is very important. I'm not going to talk about privacy today, okay? Okay, I'm talking about all those data we collect. It's all about users. So what do we do with that data? Right? It's actually burn a lot of money every day. Think about, you know, how many servers is running every day for us and how many storage. But since we're an Alibaba company, we bought those server and storage from, you know, Aliyun, which is Ali Cloud. So basically, it's, we're sending money to ourselves, but that's all business. Yeah. I'm not part of it. Okay. So first of all, we're going to, you know, to know more about the user, sometimes probably, you know, better than yourself. So by collecting all those data, we give user, we call the label, or you can think about that's a profile. That includes demographic information, you know, age, gender, and and geographic information, where's your hometown, where you often travel, and some behavior-related label, which is can be like a recent event and a special kind of activity. And also, we also have your interest label. So basically, you're like a sports fan, or you like to read books, those kind of information. Of course, we're going to have like your spending. We know your spending because our data is all connected with Alibaba's e-commerce data. So we have like a, I don't know, 360-degree view of you. So I'll give you some example. This is one female, one male, and we have a different kind of label for those guys. And then we can leverage this. This has become the basic unit in our like a database, and we built on top of that, basic infrastructure. We build a lot of intelligence. So I'm going to show like three kind of usage or examples in today's talk. Okay, so the first one actually is very easy. What do you do with your data? Of course, all the money probably, all the money internet collects from the advertiser, right? All those big brands, they want to really like to spend money, try to reach their users. So the first thing we can think, okay, we're going to have a DMP. It's called a Data Management Platform. That platform, basically, we have all the user information on it. If you go onto a website, or if you open your mobile phone, that information will be seen by like a real-time bidding system. This is an advertising engine. And based on your profile, a different advertiser, they can bid on you. I want to spend like $2 on this particular page view, and then I say I'm going to spend like $2 maybe 1 cent. And so whoever gets like a higher price will win the bid, and you will see the ads from them. So it's all kind of personalized nowadays. So in this process, by having the data or having the knowledge of the particular consumer, it is very important, you can imagine. So knowing is really, really powerful. I'll give you like one example. The advertiser is a game app. They want to like distribute the app. They want to promote their app. They want to let people install it, right? It's through a publisher. It's a news app. It's all apps, but one as an advertiser, another as a publisher. This is like the app itself. This is a full game. It's a kind of like probably fighting, some marine stuff. So what do we do? How we use our data to help the advertiser? So basically, the process is at the beginning, because the advertiser doesn't know too much about who will like this game, who will not. Of course, they will have some initial idea, but normally they will do some kind of experiment at the beginning. We call it run over the network. Basically, they probably going to show everyone this ad. And after that, someone will click on it. Someone will install it. And then what we do, we compare whoever click on it, install it, with the people, seeing that, but there's no action. And we compare them. We calculate so-called the TGI here. TGI stands for Target Group Index. That is basically to compare the profile of a person against another person. The first person is the person click on that. Another is the person saw that but no action. So we'll see where the largest difference. So in this particular case, we can see if this person already have adventure games installed on his or her cell phone, and he read a lot of military-related news, probably male, 20 to 35. That's four most dominant features for the people who click on and install the ads. And then after we get these features, we can particularly target this group of people and only show the ads for those people, not for others. So in essence, we actually save a lot of money for the advertiser. And here is the result. So basically, there's two lines. The bottom is basically run over the network, and the top one is by using our profile to give a particular group only show the ads to the particular group. So this is the most common way to use user profile in advertising business. Of course, this, after you listen, I talk to the process. There's a lot of actually human involved, right? Because I need to, pull out the profile and pull out the comparison, and then I will decide, okay, which kind of a group I'm going to target on. This is a lot of human effort, and we actually want to try to make this a little bit more automatic. And then there's coming to the next one. We call it lookalike modeling. So what is lookalike modeling? First, for the advertiser, before you run the ad, you give me your existing customer, if you have, right? For example, I have a 10,000 customer I'll continue to use that app as an example. You already, it's kind of a heavy user for my app. Those 10,000 create a lot of activity and maybe some of them even spending money in my game. So those are my core customers. But that core customer, if we only look at the character of the core customer, maybe you can only reach very small group of customer. Because for people have that particular character, even though we have a lot of data, it still will be limited. We actually will run into a lot of examples. The advertiser gave us money, but we cannot actually spend them all. It's because they have 4 or 5 criterion for their target customer. We use the 4 and 5, only got 1 million customer users in our database, but they want to actually reach 5 million. So how are we going to select another 4 million for them? So because we know a lot of the consumer, even though some of the consumer doesn't have the label you're particularly looking for, but we still can find the similarities by looking at other characteristics. The reason of this is even though we collect a lot of data, but we not collect all the data about you, right? Must be some gaps. Otherwise, the government won't like us to do that. That will be too much, right? We become, even more than FBI. So in that sense, we only can view. You can think of we view each consumer from a certain angle. So it's not like we totally understand them, but in Chinese, there's an old saying, if you belong to the same group, you have to have some similarity in multiple ways. So then we're going to use those, core customer the advertiser sent to us. We're going to look other, characters about those customers. We compare them to our whole database. We build a model. The model is those 10,000 is our training example. And we measure the similarity for all the people against those 10,000 people. And we will, basically you rank order all our users. And then you have, of course, you have a first 1 million, which already, carry the character you're looking for. And then the next 4 million is your best bet to get your money worth, right? So we actually build an automatic process. The only thing you need to do is send us your core customers, and then the machine will going to pick whatever population you want target. That should be the best part of the population you're looking for. So that's all automatic, and we have some limited result right now. So it's not perfect, but still, you see, which is still at the end of the campaign, still a lot better than the original one. So the cool thing about it, this is an old machine. So it's very, very efficient. Think about it, if we have like 1,000 advertisers want to use our platform, the first approach, how many data scientists I'm going to hire in order to do that? But this one is very cool because the machine is basically can do everything very quickly in a very large scale. So this is the approach we're going to, try to zoom into this approach and then try to have everything, automatic. And that not only going to remove some bias from the all human mistakes, but also going to help us grow a lot and also help customers to save their money because we use less resource on this process, we're going to charge you less, right? You get your more money, worth for your spending. So that is a lookalike model. Okay, this is the first area I can talk to. So this is in advertising environment. And the next one is a little bit more interesting, and it's not very common thing people normally think. It's actually in risk control. I don't know about the Indian, but in China, there's a lot of P2P lending company pop up during the last 2 years. And if you're a lending company, the most important thing for you to be a success is you have a very, very good risk control. Because there's you have a lot of competitors. If you can, select a better group of people which willing to, pay you back, you will survive, but other people will die. And in Chinese market, it's actually crazy. Because I talked to a collection company, which basically you have if you lend somebody money and they didn't pay back, we call it the default. And normally the company do is they don't have enough manpower to collect, to make all the collection. They're going to outsource this collection to another company. So I talked to this CEO of this collection company. He actually showed me an example. It's very interesting. In the application, in the name section, the person writes the name is Obama. It's no way to match with any identification document he has, but he still got the money. By looking at this example, you know how crazy in Chinese market this P2P lending, going, because there's a lot of hard money coming in. They want to those entrepreneurs. So you're going to lend out maybe 1 billion renminbi within 2 months, right? They want to reach the goal, so they don't think anything about risk control. They just blindly lend out money. So this will be very dangerous, and collection business will be very good in Chinese market for the next few years, I bet you. Yeah. If you want to do business in China, you can think about this area. Okay, because there's a lot of market requirements for the risk control, but China is not like in United States. United States, there's a 3 credit bureau. Basically, they collect all the information about you. When did you pay your rent? Did you, borrow money to buy a car? How about you pay back your credit card bill, on time or not? All those information actually collected by the 3 bureaus. And then there's another company called TiECON, which is my first, employer. We build credit score around that. That actually have very good record and very good coverage in the population of the United States. So, but in China, it's totally different story. So then there comes, I call the data pyramid of risk control. So if you look at the data which related to risk control, we can actually put in this kind of pyramid. On very top, we call credit-related data. So basically, it's your borrowing and borrowing record. And this is, of course, directly related to your credit. And the next one is your spending, how you use your credit card, so on and so forth. And the next one is telecommunication, record. This is very important, especially there's a lot of we call it fraudsters, or a lot of people. They have a similar people have a they connect into a group. So the telecommunication is very important, and so as the social. The very bottom one is actually behavior data, which is the data we have, and we have it a lot. So apparently, I talk about if you go toward the top of the pyramid, you have a more relevance to the risk control. If you go to the bottom, you have a less relevance, but you have a very good coverage. So in China, the official population in China probably 1.3 billion. And in terms of credit bureau, well, we don't have official credit bureau, but the central bank actually collects some data about the user. Within that database is 300, I think it's 350 million users have the data in that database. And still, that database is not like comprehensive. There's a lot of missing records still. So in that sense, the other data become more and more important. Since I mentioned, we have a 99.5 chance to have something about the user in our behavior data. So I think, okay, maybe we can do something about that. So it's all about behavior data in this experiment. And actually, a lot of people talk to me when I doing or in the middle of doing this project. Why don't you, have other information? You can have a much better result. I talk to them. No, I don't want. I just want to show, how useful this behavior data is. That is my goal. My goal is not to build your a comprehensive model for your use to directly use in risk control. I just want to show the value of this part of data. Let people know. So that is why I'm only use those kind of data. Okay, because there's not so many data scientists here, so I'm just going to show some simple statistics. You can understand this much better. At the beginning, I talk about our data have a very good coverage. First, I'm going to show I get some data we call Y data, which basically tell me, this particular person, when did he borrow the money, and for what kind of term, and did he actually or she return the money, pay back the money? So if the money is not paid back after 90 days, after the term end, after 90 days, we call it a default, right? And we have this kind of training data. There's some default, there's some non-default. And first thing I do is, because the data will have a different, it's coming from different source. We use the same ID, which is kind of a machine, related to the device. First, I'm going to, if I want to do something for you, we need to match your record first, right? We need to find this particular person in our database. We only actually use 1 month, the recent 1 month data to do the match. Of course, there's some device we can match, and some other device we cannot. And the first thing we look at is, for the device we matched, what is the default rate? And for the device we cannot find in our database, what is the default rate? What we found is, first, this is the matching rate. For the non-default, we have a 71% matching. For the default, we only have probably 65.4 matching rate. For overall, it's about 70 something. And then it's very interesting. If you look at the default rate, for the device we cannot find the match, the default rate is much higher. So why? Because first of all, we have very good coverage, meaning if you are a normal device, if you are a normal user, you have a very good chance in our last 1 month's data. But if you use a very kind of old device or kind of a machine simulated device, we won't be able to find you. For those kind of devices, actually have a much higher risk. To be exact, in this particular data set, it's 28% higher. So this is like a single dimension. We can get like a 28% difference between the two data sets. So this is the first simple statistic. The second one is the operational system. Right now, iOS, Android. I think Android have probably much larger coverage in India compared to China. But in China, if you look at the default rate, iOS is much lower than Android. But this should be very easy to understand because Android, you can use a lot of so a lot of kind of cheap, very cheap, and the device, and they can use the same, they can fake the same ID, the device ID, but in iOS because it's a closed environment, it's really hard for you to do this kind of thing. So for the Android operation system, it's much higher risk. Well, first I apologize for the Chinese here, but because in order to change this, I need to find the original spreadsheet, which I cannot find. So I keep the. This is a brand with a default rate. So the second one is actually Apple. The third one is Samsung. And the fifth and sixth one is actually Xiaomi. I don't know, probably there's a lot of Xiaomi cell phone in India also. So you can see across different brand, the default rate there's a lot of difference. So all those information actually is what we call feature. Those are very simple features. You can basically eyeball it easily to understand. Of course, we have some much more advanced feature in the model. I'll give you a little bit more. And this is the price with default rate. It's very easy to think, okay, if this is a very cheap phone, you have a much higher risk. This is very easy to understand. And the next one is we actually we put a quality label on all the devices we have in our database. The one being the highest quality, meaning this, for example, this cell phone, if you look at the usage pattern, it's actually very normal. You have a reasonable number of apps installed, and you use a reasonable number of apps daily, those kind of things. And for the device which labeled 4 in the quality, meaning this is a very unusual device, meaning probably you have a lot of app installed, but you rarely use it. And those colors, we have a different. We have a separate model for this, but here I want to show is the output of that model is the quality of the device. Is actually have a very good distinction between default and non-default. This will be a very useful features. So I talk about some simple statistics. So by looking at those directly, you will get some separation. Of course, we're not going to use the model as simple as that. We're going to use a lot of other things like how many apps installed on your device, how frequently you use them, what kind of apps you're using, and in terms of device, I already mentioned brand, OS. Even the size of the device, the price and the quality I already mentioned. And also user interest is the label we assign to this particular device. So all those, and also location information, where you normally use your device, this kind of thing. The location can be get from the GPS or can be get from the Wi-Fi. And then we're going to use some advanced machine learning models, which I won't mention too much here. I just show the name, linear regression, GBDT, random forest. You don't even need to know what it is. It's just we have some training data, and there's a bunch of machine learning algorithm, and then we count through the number, and the machine will have us to get better separation for the fraud and default and non-default. Okay, now there's some result. This is a little bit technical. Let me explain it a little bit. So this is what we call ROC curve. The ROC curve, the meaning of this, if you think about, if this curve more towards upper left corner, meaning the better the model. And the diagonal line, that's a random guess. So if your model performance, very close to the diagonal line, this is a very bad model. And if your model almost, at the upper right corner, that is a very good model. So this is the model we get, use the current data. And another one is show you how good this model separates default and non-default. So the only thing you need to remember is if those two lines separate more, meaning the model is good, right? So in terms of risk control, this is called KS. If KS is about 0.2, this already can be useful. And remember, we only use behavior data, not other data. So this is actually a very promising result. And since the time, I'm going to skip the second one. It's almost the same. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is how we're going to help the offline stores. Because Alibaba being very successful for helping the online e-commerce. The reason we can do that is because of this. I mentioned about data. For the online e-commerce, we actually collect almost all the data. Once the user gets into your website, we know where they come from, how long they stay, what content they're looking, what product they're looking for, and what they put in their shopping cart, and when did they do the payment. We know all the data. So by having those data, we can do a lot of things for you. We call it data-driven operation optimization. But for the offline, literally, in most cases, the only thing we collect is the payment. When the user pay you, you get some data. And if the user pay you in cash, you don't even have that data. So if you don't have the data, how are we going to help you, right? So the first thing we do is we try to collect offline data by using Wi-Fi and beacon. The Wi-Fi we call Wi-Fi sniffer is actually very simple. When your cell phone opens the Wi-Fi, it's actually continuously sending out a signal looking to connect. And this signal can be captured. And because this signal will contain the device ID, we can actually connect this device ID with our database. Then we know your customer. So this is a Wi-Fi. And the beacon is more like a barcode or a QR code. So QR code, you need to scan. The beacon, you just need to open your Bluetooth. Then you can get information from the beacon. So by those two approaches, we can actually collect some information in your offline environment. This is some example of the device we're using in our experiment. What we can measure. The interesting thing is one important thing about to use big data is you need to connect the data. If the data is isolated, that won't be very much useful for you. And by using Wi-Fi and beacon, we actually can connect data. The connection meaning, so this guy coming into your store today and coming back tomorrow, we know this is the same guy. But using traditional method like infrared camera, you cannot make this kind of connection. You only can count the number. So by using Wi-Fi, we calculate some metrics for our store owners. One is visitors, and any given time, how many customers in store. And conversion rate is what percentage of storefront traffic is entering store. Traffic, total traffic is the in-store plus outside, how many people there. Duration, how long a person inside your store. This need connection to do that. And bounce and engagement rate. What percentage of customers actually stay shorter and longer than the threshold you set. You said, okay, this one coming in seriously, not like coming and pop up immediately. A new and repeat customer, I already mentioned, we can connect the ID, so we know this is a new and old one. So by doing that, we run some experiment. The first one is actually the Double 11 last year. They have a promotion event. They want to measure how effective this event is. So the result is, so you can see the traffic, the visitor with traffic. You can see the visitor in this store is actually jump, a lot during this promotion period. This looks good, but if we separate this into different regions, we can see there's a 2 region actually perform pretty good, but for other 2 regions, which is not good. That will give the store owner some idea on where to investigate. This is a very, concrete example, show them, okay, you need to looking into the reason why those 2 areas doesn't work well for your promotion. And another thing is, because we can connect the data, we can know your customer. We know the gender distribution. We know the web spending capability. We know the age distribution, and we know the spending frequency. Actually, we have a 30,000 dimension you can looking into by examining your customer, by connect the data with our database. Another example is there's an opening ceremony. We try to measure, how people move around the exhibit hall and where is the hottest place. We can show this traffic flow chart, how people move around. We can also show this heat map. So show where are the most, interest, place for the customer. We actually have a lot of customers in this conference. We actually went to a lot of conference to set up this kind of thing, to help them to understand their their audience. Okay, so now I have only 1.5 minutes left. This is my conclusion. The first one is the user behavior data is very much useful because until then, a lot of the user information, there only be used probably in advertising environment, but not in risk control, where probably the one of very, a few first one to try in risk control. So we'll actually continue exploring other area, how this data can be used. But at least right now, we already show this is very useful. And I showed some example, advertising, risk control, and offline data-driven operation. And of course, there's more opportunity will be explored. And okay, this is my talk, and this is my email. And if anyone have interesting or have a question to ask, can just shoot me an email. And I also will be around, in this afternoon. All right, thank you.
चंडीगढ़ में खुशी के छींटे गिर सकते हैं, मैसूरू में गरज के साथ मनोकामनाएं पूरी होंगी, बड़ौदा में छोटी बड़ी उम्मीदों की बौछार होगी, नासिक में मौज के बादल घुबड़ आए हैं, गैंगटॉक और निकटतम क्षेत्र में ख्वाहिशें तेज रफ्तार से दौड़ेंगी, चेन्नई में दरियादिली प्रकट होने के अनेक संकेत हैं, देश के कोने कोने में समृद्धि की बारिश बरस रही है, 6% इंटरेस्ट की रिमझिम के साथ हम भी इस खुशहाली का हिस्सा बन रहे हैं। कोटक महिंद्रा बैंक, कोना कोना।
Before we wrap up day 1, please note that there are 4 parallel unconference sessions being conducted right now at halls 3 and 4. The topics include how to get your first few customers, how to build a sales team, scaling a bootstrapped startup, and India-focused product businesses. All of you are welcome to walk in and join the proceedings. And with that, we honestly come to the end of day 1 of TiECON Chennai 2016, brought to you in partnership with the Hindu Business Line, supported by our partner country IDA Ireland. We would also like to thank our day sponsors, Fulcrum Venture, Capital First, PayPal, RR Donnelly and Axis Bank. This year, Pitch Fest is powered by Wealth Advisors, and Awards Night is brought to you by Cognizant, Axis Bank and Godrej Properties. Thank you also to our other sponsors, Prodapt, TRIL, Access Healthcare, Astio Software, CAMS, Uyela, TVS Logistics, DGS, Rage Communications, Angels Unleashed, Kotak Bank, Car Technology, VA Tech Wabag, Shasan Strides, Akamai, Veda Corp, Godrej Properties, Coven Care, and Notion Press. And to all of you, thank you very much for joining us over the course of today, and we hope to leave you with insights, questions, answers, connections, and much more. Do let us know what you thought, how you felt, and what you took away by reaching out to us on social media. At TiECON and #TiECON Chennai 16 is where we will be. Please do join us here again tomorrow at 9 a.m. for more information-packed sessions. On behalf of TiECON Chennai 2016, we hope you have a great evening and indeed a great day tomorrow. Goodbye. God bless.
Playing your own game. This is your time to play the big game and lay your road to great fame. You're at the forefront of the all-new league. The field is all set, stands a full house. Are you game for it? If it's not you, who else? If it's not now, when then? Today is the day, oh, to go a long way. Samina, mina, sangalera, 'cause this is TiECON. Samina, mina, waka, waka, Samina, mina, sangalera. It's time for you now.